Before we start today's episode, I gotta tell you about this amazing vinyl furniture I just got from SidetrackedWorkshop.com. I now have the double sidekick model in my front room, and it's absolutely killer. It holds a couple hundred records, and it looks beautiful. Check it out on my Instagram. It's very handsome indeed. And when you get a moment, check out SidetrackedWorkshop.com and show off your vinyl in style. That's SidetrackedWorkshop.com.
And now, on with the show. Welcome to The Vinyl Guide, the podcast for record collectors and music nerds. Here's your host, the biggest record nerd of them all, Nate Goyer.
Well, hey everyone, it's Nate, episode 481 of The Vinyl Guide, and I'm going to put down the frivolity of our passion for music and record collecting. I'm just going to put that away just for a moment and really wish all our friends in the Los Angeles area well. Hoping these tragic fires are getting under control and hoping you and yours are safe. Look, being in Australia, we're no stranger to wildfires, so I get how difficult and frightening these times are. I hope you're okay, and hopefully you're back home and sorted out soon. Take care, you guys. Hope all is well. So look, I wanted to get this episode out. There's a lot of very difficult news out at the moment, and hopefully this episode can be a nice welcome distraction for all of you. It's a conversation with Stephen Malkmus, who you may know from his work with Pavement. Hopefully you know from his band, The Quartet. He's on his way to Australia, and he's a record collector. So we talk all about his hobby. He's got some amazing, rare recordings, which we talk about today. And we also talk about his early works, the early records, the Slay Tracks 45, and quite a bit more. So, again, I mentioned, he's part of this project / supergroup, the Quartet. This band features Emmett Kelly, Jim White, Matt Sweeney, along with Steven. They've got a brilliant LP out right now on Matador, and they are about to tour Australia. So if you're in Brisbane, Sydney, Perth, Melbourne, Castlemaine, or Adelaide, head over to thehardquartet.com or feelpresents.com to grab a ticket. This is such a great album. I mean, I've been listening to it over and over. So take some time, check out the Hard Quartet in your streaming service. Listen to the album and grab the vinyl from your local record shop, or hell, even grab it from the merch table while they're in town. And hey, if you enjoy this interview, please make sure to follow the Vinyl Guide podcast in your podcast app. Got lots of great conversations with other record collectors you may know. Mark Maron, record collector. He was on the podcast episode 400. Fred Armisen has been on. Eddie Kramer, who produced Hendrix and Led Zeppelin. Bill Stevenson of Descendants and Black Flag. We even had Mr. Rick Beato. We talked all about analog and artificial intelligence and the future of music. All these episodes are available anytime, free to enjoy. Just follow the Vinyl Guide in your podcast app. Scroll, listen, and enjoy. All right, without further delay, here's the conversation with Mr. Stephen Malkmus of the Quartet.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can. Hi, Steve.
All right.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. How are things? Are you anywhere near the cacophony in Southern California?
No, dude, but I got a lot of friends who are going through it, as they say, family members. Nobody's lost their house except one friend of my daughter's, so knock on wood.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering if Shangri-La was still there. Probably isn't. It
is. It's okay. It's actually,
really?
Yeah. So far, so good. Well, that was yesterday. They're kind of in the Zuma area, and which is farther north. And as far as I've heard, they are alive and kicking. But things can change.
Jeez. All right.
Unless you heard different. I don't know.
I didn't. I was it's so hard to read the fire maps. Like I've got addresses of friends that are there and of course places that I stay. And I've got the addresses, but looking at the fire maps, it's like, geez, I can't tell what's going on.
Tell me about it. It's really confusing. Just for the people that live there, it's the same way. They're watching like CCTVs and like, they don't even know, or at least yesterday. They probably do now. But that's how it was because it was such a fast evacuation. Crazy, dude.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you and yours, and well, most of yours, and hopefully all the band's friends and families and interests are okay. It's going to be a rough next 5-10 years rebuilding.
Tell me about it.
Anyway, well, hey, let's talk about brighter things. You guys coming to Australia?
That's right.
All right. What are some of the memories you have of Australia? You've been here quite a few times.
Quite a few times. Like there's basic ones, which is a lot of flying and and large hotel rooms, large kind of apartment living type like places we stayed, which is it's kind of unique. Good weather, lots of time to. Generally, the promoters and they make an effort to show you around and make it a good hang, to maybe make up for that you're not like raking in cash or whatever too. You know what I mean? But it's beautiful and like good food, and I don't know. It's all, especially in the winter here, it's nice to visit. And I don't know. I'm focusing on that side. The music is good venues, good gear, good shows generally. People are into guitars, that's sick. So
are you taking any extra time while you're here? Or are you just kind of doing your gigs in and out?
I'm coming a little bit early. The Melbourne. I'm coming early to Melbourne to watch some tennis at the Australian Open. I'm into tennis, and so I'm coming like 3 days early and hanging with some friends, going there. Other than that, I don't think sometimes people do that, but I kind of got to get back for my family and boring stuff like that. But still, 3 days is cool.
I get it. Yeah, you'll just be getting over the jet lag by the time it's time to turn around. So for those of you who don't know, Hard Quartet's coming to Australia: Brisbane, Sydney, Perth, Melbourne, Castlemaine, in Adelaide. Tickets and info at thehardquartet.com. Well, let me ask you, on your free time, Steve, are you still kind of shopping for records? Because a lot of what this podcast is about, records, rare records, collectibles. Do you still find yourself in record stores quite a bit?
Around here in Chicago, we have some good ones. So I kind of haven't been buying as much. I bought some on Discogs a couple of days ago. I sort of sat out the pandemic overbuy, but I actually sold a lot of records because I moved recently. I sold, I would say, like 8 feet of records or something to a guy in Portland to sell. We still haven't really figured out what he's going to pay me, but I kept most of, the ones that have sentimental value. And that's funny, when we're talking about the fire, like I did think about some records that I would want to take. I was like, we have photos, not as many as the other generations. A lot of things are on laptops. So like records and my music gear were kind of like first. That I would pack in the van for the fire.
I've started thinking about that, like, because I got quite a few records, and I've got I know where some of my most precious ones are, but they're not in one place. So if I had to, if I had to evacuate within minutes, I think I need to get myself a little. I need to get organized with that. Put them in a single place or in a single case that I can just grab and go.
Yeah, you might want to think about that. I was just imagining where stuff was. I think I have my super private pressings and ultra rares like in one corner of one of these stupid IKEA record things I bought. So I think I can find it pretty fast, but maybe I should make sure.
Yeah. I don't think they have fireproof record cases, but yeah.
No.
So
that's true.
So tell me about some of these rarities in that IKEA Calyx record case. What do you got there?
Well, let's see. Like Dandelions, this private press from Utah. It's these like 2 girls that have it's in the territory of the Shags, or that my friend gave me. I've got Color Balls. I put that in there. It's one of yours.
Oh yeah.
Or one that is really famous from there. My original copy of Ball Power and Obsecration, and also whatever it's called, Heavy Metal Kid. I got that one.
Mm.
Mint. It's good condition. I bought a bunch of interesting Australian records like 14 years ago or 20 from a dude in Sydney, a record dealer. He was kind of a Bondi surfer type guy. I got like Band of Light and a bunch of these festival Buffalo, Matter Lake,
Wow.
Carson, this blues band called Carson. They're kind of like Canned Heat or something. Yeah, he just and funnier things like Supernod and Taste and Avalanche, like kind of like this hard rock. Not so Avalanche is not so different from I don't know, like Triumph or just some kind of Grand Funk Railroad. You know what I mean? It's not like it's essential, but
Right.
still cool. I don't know. I got a bunch of New Zealand records too. I'm just going Antipodean right now from Expressway label and Flying Nun, of course, and
Yeah.
even more obscure labels that I can't remember now, but like before Flying or concomitant to Flying Nun, you know, they had a really kind of golden age there in the 80s of not only creators but of people pressing records and stuff. So that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. That sounds like an amazing collection. You
Yeah,
can't even
dude.
find those anywhere here, and you've got them all there. Do you buy a lot of records sight unseen, like that hippie guy or that surfer guy in Bondi said, "Oh, you should try this." Do you
I
grab a bunch
did
of
with
things down?
him. I
Okay.
did with him. He was like, I mean, I was on a quest. It was like 2000. I was on a quest to get Ball Power because someone would play me. That's what Mama said. And I was like, that's the perfect song or perfect jam. And so, yeah, I got like Live at Sunbury, this triple album. I got Summer Jam, and I don't know. He had I just was like, what the hell? I just, paid, and he was not cheap, but he wasn't overpriced either. He was like, I reckon you'll like this, Steven. Like, of course I'm down for that. That happens a lot. I'm always there to learn, and one of the funnest times you can have with record collecting is going to somebody who's got amazing taste and amazing stuff, and they're like, I think you'll like this, right?
Yeah, you got to listen to those people. Even at the record
Yeah.
shops, when they say, here's my recommendations. It's like, well, all right, well,
Absolutely.
yeah, listen to those
Absolutely.
people.
They know people. My daughter even works at college radio. I've learned so much about new generation um, post punk and stuff from her, which I would have never. I mean, I don't have as much time, I'll admit I'm not as into it as I was. I think everyone goes through an insanity time, and then it gets to be like, do I need this? Like do I need the objects? Can I just listen to it? I can just listen to this on Spotify, even if it doesn't sound as good, or you know what I mean, or on my phone. There's kind of a gradual. That's what I did a bit when I moved to Chicago. You know what I mean? It's like, do I really need Led Zeppelin presence? It's a great album, but like do I need to carry it? The records are heavy, it's like that level. It's an unbelievable record, but I don't know if I actually need a physical copy.
Yeah, there's two or three Led Zeppelin albums that I'd jettison. A couple you need, but same with
Yeah.
Black Sabbath. The first 5 records, maybe, fantastic,
Yeah.
and then it's a pretty slippery slope downward.
I love that Sabotage one. I have that. I had that on cassette when I was a kid, and that's so bizarre, that album. I really like it. It's really druggy in a different way, than the classic stoner rock ones. But I mean, it's still a classic.
Yeah,
But
yeah. No, I know what you mean. There's some records that I've just had in my life, and then at some point I say, I think I've learned what I can learn from this. It's time to kind of catch and release, put this back out there in
right,
someone else's hands.
someone else will dig it too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, do you care about first presses or reissues? Is that
Yeah,
something you? Yeah.
yeah, I do. I'm into that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd much rather have I don't really want a reissue, to be honest. I would If I haven't heard something, I mean, they can be collectible too, don't get me wrong, but I'm definitely if it's VG, I'm good. I prefer VG plus, but I am not a mint miner. And I like to find stuff out in the wild, like I've had some fun in Australia. One time we were playing like in the Gold Coast, and we just went to some weird spot and found some kind of weird stuff there once. And out in Perth back in the old days, or maybe in Fremantle, found some surprising things. It's obviously it's harder and harder. That was the 90s. Less and less likely that you're gonna have some incredible finds. In Portland, it was the same way. Portland is like record collector central. There's no sales tax there too, so like people like to trade and buy there. Like Japanese collectors come there, and so you're really, it's going to be hard there. There's a lot of slackers there, just into music, which is great, but also hard for in the wild hunter.
So when you walk into a record shop, I imagine you would look at the wall first. Like you want to see what gems they have.
I like to look for fun at that. Really, you're going to have to look under the table, under the main things, if you're going to hope to find anything that's somehow misplaced. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, that's the way it is. That's how I've only found any holy grails in my life, is going in a place where they didn't know what they had, or it's like underneath and like, in the behind all the $1 throwaway Dean Martin albums or something. For some reason it's there.
Or, hey, this just came in, something you gotta.
That could happen too. That would be nice. But once the internet started taking hold, I mean, it's fair. I don't want to like take some old record store owner and he has a $400 record, and I'm gonna say like this is 20. That's not nice either. So, right. But so there's something nice about, for the owners, of trying to keep stores open, that they know exactly what everything's worth.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think it's kind of bad form to try to negotiate with a record store owner anyway. It's, these people are, no one's becoming a millionaire off a record shop. So just fucking give them the money and walk out like a gentleman.
Yeah. I mean, there's chance that you can be a tastemaker and actually discover something that no one else has and knows is good. That's kind of the ultimate frontier. You know what I mean? There's this guy, Paul Major from Endless Boogie. He kind of did that in the 80s and 90s. And I'm always looking for that, but most of the genres for that, you're going to really have to find. I mean, I'm not like an expert on funk or soul, so I wouldn't know if I could do that. I'd be more likely Christian psychedelic music, or this outsider private record, you find in Montana or something no one's heard of. That's your best hope.
So outsider music, it sounds like your ears perk up when you hear about that. You said the Dandelions, the Shags, that sort of thing. Is that kind of your lane? Is that something you're constantly looking for? Because look, to me, I found private press is very bumpy. So I tend to kind of stay away unless I have a really good recommendation on those. I understand. The vocals can be a hit or miss thing, and that's sometimes you have to take some time with it, and then like really, it takes a certain. I there's bad ones, of course. There's really super amazing ones like Gary Higgins, Red Hash, for instance. I don't know if you ever heard that. That's officially a private pressing. I think Drag City Records reissued it, but that record sounds like it was made in a professional studio with like a smooth sounding, great musicians. It just happens that it was released in 300 copies
or 500, and the guy went to prison or something. So, it's got a backstory like that, and it's called Red Hash, which is great. But like, so that is a thing that anyone would like, I think, but then there are ones like on the Shags side of things where it's gonna take, or there's plenty of them in the Christian thing, the singing, sometimes I'm listening, I'm like, wait, that singing is super annoying. What am I thinking? But in the end, it's just once you've tried everything and it's just something at the end of the frontier for me, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, I love the Beatles or whatever you do, I do, we all do, or just things that are expertly recorded and obviously, genius harmonies and, clever, and then there's things that are, on a 4-track and out of tune, but like, they create a vibe too. So, yeah.
So it sounds like you've collected over the years, and you just said you described it. You sold 8 foot of records to someone in Portland.
Yeah.
So you don't do this every so often or do a cull infrequently. It's a big, massive move when that happens.
Yeah. Yeah. We were moving, I had a big house and I just was, didn't want to carry it all. And it was coming, you know what I mean? It was like something that I needed to do. And there was a lot of crap, like don't tell him, but, or there's just, just impulse $5 buys, or they're not worth, I don't even, he'll go through them, the guy that I sold, and he'll know, and he'll check the condition, but you know what I mean? It was stuff I didn't want anyway. But, luckily I got so much 90s music from I just didn't even have to buy it, because like I would just get from the bands we were touring with, or labels of sending stuff. So I have all that I love all that stuff still. And I kind of sort of sat on that because I didn't, I was into more like 60s and 70s music at the time. So it's rad that I have all that stuff.
Does something like a white label promo excite you?
Not really. I mean, if it's unique, I don't know, like promo copies, or I mean, I just look on Discogs if they're worth more. Doesn't matter to me really. Condition, I'd rather just have a first printing or something. Like my wife had a television, when I was looking at these things, she has a promo copy of the first television album. And so I looked at it, I'm like, oh, it's worth more, because it is a promo. So but if it is a early pressing or just like known to be good sounding, I would care about that too, I suppose. Like people go down that road. Certain pressing plants in America are sometimes more sought after, like for Velvet Underground records and stuff like that. Certain records like Velvet Underground first album or something, I would really like to have like a first copy of it, just to hear how it sounds as you heard it. Other things I don't care about as much. I guess I wouldn't care as much. You know what I mean? Like if I get even a little bit later, like Led Zeppelin, I love Led Zeppelin too, but if it was not the first one, I'm okay with that. I mean, it's probably going to be beat to hell anyway because everyone listens to those so much, right?
Well, actually specifically on the Led Zeppelin too, about the Robert Ludwig version.
I've heard about that, the hot mix. I've only seen that on YouTube. I mean, that's interesting to me.
Yeah.
No doubt. And
that's the one you want, Steven.
I know. But that's almost so common to me, that the music of that album, that I had an 8-track of it, and that sounded unbelievable. I mean, the bass on it, and it could have been my 8-track player. Through the 90s, I would play that when I was doing work out in the yard. And yeah, I was obviously couldn't believe. I have moments with some of those songs again, but they're not quite as much in my DNA as Velvet Underground or something, where I'm like completely amazed by the not only the songs, but just the sound of it. You know, like the sound of the first Velvet Underground album and the second one. The third one is amazing. I don't care about the sound as much, but there's something to me about those first two that really and Led Zeppelin doesn't really do that. It's so associated with my like stoner kids in my school, you know, and with flares and wispy mustaches and shitty weed. That I, as much as I love Led Zeppelin, it's like MTV music to me. I don't know, you know MTV. Remember how like it was all over, like you would gag on it. It would ruin things, you know, like, and make you hate it because they overplayed it, and there was nothing else to watch on TV. So sometimes Led Zeppelin does that to me, and as big a fan as I am, but
so I've got this friend of mine. We went to high school together. I grew up in California, and we went to high school together. And he was so into Led Zeppelin to the point to where, just like you say, it's like, God, turn it down a little bit, man. Let's try something else. So I lost contact with him over the decades, and then I reconnected maybe 5 years ago. And social media and everything. Turns out he still stayed on that Led Zeppelin kick so much that he now does work for the band. Like,
wow.
He's the guy when they were putting out those special
Box
editions,
sets.
those deluxe. Like they would reach out to him and say, what was Jimmy wearing in Osaka in 71? He'd say, oh, well, he was wearing this. He was playing this guitar. Here's their set list. Here's a recording.
That's cool.
Yeah. And you look at those box sets and there's his name. It's pretty amazing.
Well, that's cool. I'm all for that. I mean, they have interesting history. Their first American show was in like Spokane, which I think is so freaking weird.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Is that the one they said it's rumored to have happened, but no one's
It's on tape.
Sure? Okay.
It's on tape. I imagine it being at like Gonzaga College, that really conservative Christian college that's good at basketball. Oh. And they're like playing there. It's so weird, but I have some connection with that area. My parents live in Idaho and stuff, so bizarre.
So do you collect mainly 12 inches, or do you have a lot of 7 inches?
Yeah,
okay.
I do. I have a lot of them that I've bought, more like DIY punk and mostly hardcore, and I that stuff's cool. But I don't play them that often. I'm just lazy. Yeah. But artifact wise, super cool. Someone comes over. They're kind of social, I guess. The idea is you get some beer and start ripping off some 7 inches, or if you were DJing, but I don't have as much time for that. So mostly 12-inch, almost exclusively.
Now, when you were young, you lived in Los Angeles. What age did you move? You moved to Stockton, right?
Yeah. Like when I was 8 or something like that. It's pretty young.
Okay, so you weren't part of the LA punk scene. You didn't go to any shows, obviously.
No.
Okay.
No, but I was there for high school for a bit. But it was more like the germs and the decline and things we heard about. But the hardcore in Stockton was legit. I was there like 82. I was in a band. We opened for a lot of the classic American California hardcore bands. Like our first shows with True Sounds of Liberty and Toxic Reasons, and this amazing band called Tales of Terror from Sacramento. We're kind of like our age, hypothetically, and we tried to act like we were as good as them. We were called the Straw Dogs, but they were just miles ahead of us. And so, we played with like Black Flag. We played with Code of Honor, played with their San Francisco band, DOA, of course.
Right.
Big fans of DOA. Who else?
Joey Shithead has the greatest name in punk. That is the fan. No,
they were amazing. And there's a band from Stockton called The Authorities. If you ever get a chance to hear their single, it's called Soundtrack for Trouble. It's a 33 RPM single. They printed themselves. It's kind of rare, Killed by Death style. But they were the older brothers. They were pretty cool dudes, kind of into the Damned and the Sweets, and I don't know. They just had, unfortunately, they were into Johnny Thunders, and which led to heroin and stuff like that. But there was just anyway good music, good scene, weirdos. You know, it was good, everybody from the queer people to Grateful Dead fans. You know, at that time it was in 1981. It was still kind of alternative to be a Grateful Dead fan. You know what I mean? So we had a cool scene in a way, albeit druggy. But
did Straw Dogs? You were Straw Dogs, right? Did you make any records at that point?
No, we didn't. We thought we wanted to, but it all just collapsed in drugs and unfortunately, and times were kind of changing pretty fast. By 84, I mean, you could continue on in punk, but people were going kind of metal or country. You know what I mean? Like it kind of was fizzling into what became like bands like Husker Du and REM, and also there was the why do there's no girls into hardcore really, you know what I mean? So that sucked too. And so that would obviously lead you to be more into Smiths and Echo and the Bunnymen and The Cure and stuff like that. Susie and the Banshees. I don't know. But anyway, my taste changed. Yeah. So I kind of got out of it.
So is Sleigh Tracks the first time you were on vinyl record? Hey there, audiophiles. If you're seeking stylish furniture to showcase your stereo and record collection, well, look no further than SidetrackedWorkshop.com. Sidetracked Workshop designs extraordinarily elegant record cabinets and consoles that add sophistication and panache to your music hobby. Handcrafted in the good old USA in the vinyl-loving city of Portland, Oregon, Sidetracked Workshop's designs are a music lover's dream. Made with real walnut veneered wood and brass accents, these gorgeous designs add class and taste to the record room and ship fully assembled and ready to enjoy. Just check out the designs for yourself at SidetrackedWorkshop.com. Look, you spend thousands of dollars on records. Don't keep them in a crate, and don't risk your records on those feeble wooden pegs from IKEA. Your music deserves the dignity of Sidetracked Workshop. That's SidetrackedWorkshop.com. Elegant solutions for the vinyl lifestyle. Oh, and hey, record nerds, don't forget to clean your records with the very best and safest record cleaner, the Groove Washer. Make your records look and sound their very best and store them with confidence using the new Groove Washer Groove Guard record sleeves. You gotta try this out. It makes a huge difference to the quality of your vinyl experience. Ask for the Groove Washer by name at your local record store and accept no substitutes. Or head over to groovewasher.com and use discount code VINYLGUIDE10.
All hail the Groove Washer.
That's groovewasher.com, discount code VINYLGUIDE10. So, is Sleigh Tracks the first time you were on vinyl record?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And
yeah.
What made you guys decide to do a 7-inch at that time?
Well, we were into some alternative bands from the like DIY punk bands like the Swell Maps and what else? A little bit like Beat Happening and these well, I can't remember. There was like just it seemed possible within the realm of possibility that you would want to make your own record, you know, and put it out, and just it could be forgotten for all time, but it would exist. So that was sort of the idea. That's why, basically. Yeah, we were into obscure college rock, you know, like I call it that now, but it was like Dinosaur and Sonic Youth, and we're like, why not make something weird?
Were there any labels or anything you were collecting at the time? Like, were you know, anything SST?
No, we were into early Sub Pop, you know, was starting Mudhoney, Homestead Records, which did like Sonic Youth, and yeah, we were just kind of into those kind of bands. Replacements, you know, I was into them, right? Dream Syndicate, you remember them?
Oh yeah. We just had Steve Wynn on the show, in fact.
Yeah, Paisley Underground type bands like that, I'd be down for. I'm just trying to cover, because it kind of Minutemen. they're ostensibly punk, but they're more than punk. So Meat Puppets, that kind of thing would have been, maybe, and Butthole Surfers, I was blown away by them. So it was that era. Maybe Big Black too.
Right. So with sleigh tracks, the first 50 of them had dinosaur stamps, as I understand. So
yes,
that's kind of you already were familiar with the scarcity, making a few of these special, yeah?
Scott might have done that. I didn't know about that. We thought it was already like 1,000 was irrational to think that we could sell 1,000, but we thought that was still scarce in a way, but it's not actually. That's a lot of copies. So I think he did that. We are lucky that they aren't in our garage still. You know what I mean? I know that now, but and they only also charge you like not much more money to get an extra 500. You know what I mean? They're like, well, we can do. They're $3 a copy if you do 500, and they're $2.50 or $2 if you do 1,000. When you're getting them pressed. So anyway, he must have done that. God bless him. And I'm just psyched about that it got some attention, and like people were into it.
Oh yeah. Oh, and what's interesting is there was recently a box set, the Cautionary Tales box set, which one of them included all originals. Was this like 27 inches singles, and there were some of them that actually contained original singles in those boxes. Yeah.
No way. I wish I knew that. Those guys are cool. Matador is so clever with marketing and doing interesting things that I would buy. That's what you want from your label.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. They always make the reissues some reason for it to exist, that is thoughtful, I guess you would say. Because I don't know, like Cherry Red, they probably do a great job or something. There's some reissues. They're just like thrown out on CD with like one live song at the end. I don't know.
So you got to have a label that thinks creatively like that. And you've been with Matador up to this day. Hard Quartet's on Matador as well.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. There's two. One of the dudes in HQ is Matt Sweeney. Was in Chavez, so it kind of made sense. They believed in it when they heard it, and there was really no other reason to not do it with them. So
is Hard Quartet this? People call it a super group. I would agree. Is this a one-off? Will this be continuing to record in the future? Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, we're totally planning to. This is a starting point. Like maybe things don't go well or something. We don't do it, but like that's the plan. After we're doing this touring, and then we're going to make our next step. It's like, I'm psyched for it. They're like really good musicians and a really fun hang.
Oh, it's phenomenal. The record is, I hope you guys bring some pressings and have them on the merch table here in Australia, because I haven't been able to find a copy. Not on vinyl anyway.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll tell Matador.
Yeah. Bring a box. Because this is
definitely
This is music that, and this is my interpretation. You can't make shipping MP3s across. You guys have to be in the same room doing this. Is that, would I be reading
Absolutely.
that right?
No, yeah, we didn't even do that. It was all just like created amongst the four of us in the place. Nothing was not made where we were all in the room, which is cool, maybe someone was like getting lunch or something outside the studio, but we didn't do it that way. It was definitely an effort to make it pretty organic and like, it's not like we're Steely Dan, but it doesn't sound hi-fi like that, but it is like no effects and, kind of in the room mic placements. It's what you got, even if it's not smooth like that. We're not all plug-in insanity and one guy in his room tweaking it and cycle. That's It's kind of lame in this day and age, so we avoid that.
What do they call perfection is the enemy of progress. You guys just you captured the idea and put it there, and it's a great album. Now,
I think so. I mean, things could always be a little better. That's how every record is, but it can also get worse if you're doing that. So, so I think we struck a good balance.
So out of the 15, 16 songs there, do you guys have a lot of outtakes, or was this pretty much what was recorded?
That was pretty much everything that was carried on to completion. Like we dropped some things along the way. Didn't bother finishing them. They were all, I guess, considered to have some merit, like something in them that everyone agreed was pretty cool. And yeah, we could have pruned it. Like a few of my songs could definitely have gone, or one or two of them probably could have got better, but in the end we thought this is what it is, and this is the vibe, and it's just like, let's just put it all out.
You guys are sharing all the songwriting, so it's hard to tell who did what, but you can start to get little glimpses. Oh, this is Matt's style, or this is
Definitely.
Yeah. Renegade, whose is that?
That's me. That's but that's completely that's one of the ones I like consider like the band. It's like I had it totally different, like I did make a demo of it, and it's like really kind of like a 60s sort of 60s / Nirvana, like about a girl type sound or something. I mean, it was like dun, 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 and it was like it became more of a garage or like a angry punk sound, like a barely can play punk sound, which we leaned into.
It's got a bit of a Tomorrow Never Knows kind of dizzying effect as well. So
that's true in the chorus. I like how it and it's like fucking compressed to shit, like it's really brutally limited, so everything's kind of like mashed up, and unlike the other songs.
And thank God Heel Highway's after it, because you need almost a breather after that.
Yeah, dude, totally.
So
yeah.
So look, Steven, I know you're wrapping things up and you need to get on a plane out here. So finally, if you were to walk into a record store in Australia or elsewhere, what's a holy grail that you would hope to find to take home with you?
Well, if I was in Australia
or elsewhere, could be.
Well, I would like to do it there. I mean, I was listening to this record by this guy named Roy Rutanen, and he is. Let me see what it says about him. I'm gonna look it up now. He's Australian, and it's like RUTA. He's let's see what it says about him.
Folk rock, psychedelic rock, 1971.
Yeah, I hope he's from fucking Australia. Pardon my language.
That's right.
What does it say? Roy, I mean, it costs like $600, so I'd be looking for that. Okay, no, he's not from Canada. I thought he was from Australia for some reason, but he's just a dude that is from Massachusetts.
Okay.
So I made a mistake I'm doing a radio station thing for Triple R or something. I was like, this one's from Australia. I'm gonna have to re-record that one. Yeah, I would look for that one. It's Roy Rutanen. Sometimes you can find rare American records in Australia too. That just people didn't notice. There was one. What was it called? Like Bram Stoker. There was some like hard rock record I bought in like a charity shop in the Gold Coast, and it's like it was one of those classics where you're like, this looks interesting. I've never heard of it. Oh, it's $5, and then it turns out it's kind of generic hard rock but rare, and so that's pretty fun.
Yeah.
So I really, to be honest, dude, I sort of like to be surprised by, just do my own research, and maybe even, look at my phone or something and say, what's this? And see if it is if it exists.
Yeah.
Do you ever do that? Like look at your phone and
totally
while you're looking at records. So
life has so few surprises. Walking into a record shop and discovering something is like top of the list for me. What I want to do.
Yeah, and it's always funny. It seems like you always have bad reception too in the record store. I've noticed. It's like I can't really find, and I don't want the owner to think like, oh, he's just looking at my things to see if the price is right or something. And so I'm kind of trying to keep it on the down low. And anyway.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Such is the life.
Well, Stephen, thank you so much for your time, man. I'll let you go. And for all you Australian record shops, find a Roy Rutanen and put it on the wall because Stephen's looking for it there.
I'm on the hunt. All right. Thanks a lot, man.
Take care, man. We'll see you down under. Cheers.
Yep, absolutely. Bye. Thanks.
Bye. Oh, man, I got to tell you, that Hard Quartet album is killer. Again, listen to it in your streams. It's on YouTube. It's freely available. Give it a go. The track Renegade is a hell of a track, but maybe you don't want to dive straight into that. It may kind of skew your approach to the rest of the album. But yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing those guys when they come down here live. Feelpresents.com are tickets and information for those shows. And that's it for this episode of The Vinyl Guide. Thank you so much for tuning in. And to all of you who are sharing these episodes on social media and Reddit and Facebook groups and all that stuff, that is certainly appreciated. And also really appreciate those of you who are leaving positive reviews on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, saying 5 out of 5 stars and writing stuff that makes me blush. That is always appreciated. And we'll be back shortly with a brand new episode. So until we talk next time, get up there and buy some records, people. Cheers.